So I figured that it was finally time once again that I go and show you guys all of the animals that I have. So I did a video similar to this about a year ago. It was June of last year, but a lot has changed since then. Not only have like the animals that I own changed, you know, I have some new animals since then, but I feel like I've changed a lot as a person. I feel like my animal care has changed a lot as well. So I thought that this would be really fun to go ahead and show you guys all of the pets that I own again and have them, you know, all in one video. So without further ado, we can just go ahead and get right into it. I do want to give a quick little disclaimer though. I don't want this video to, you know, encourage anyone to go out and get a bunch of pets or all of the pets that you see in this video or anything. Owning animals is a huge responsibility, and having as many as I do can, you know, be a lot for most people. You know, animals are my entire life. It's what I do. You know, it's like my hobby, my career, my passion. It's everything to me essentially. So while I'm fully capable of taking care of all of the pets that I have, it's definitely not for everyone, so please just keep that in mind. With all of that said, let's go ahead and start meeting all of my animals. So to start off this video, I want to introduce you guys to some very special animals of mine, and I'm really excited for you guys to meet them. So to start off, I would like to introduce you guys to my Carson's chameleon. This here is a male. I do have a female as well who I will be showing you. This is Felix. Now, chameleons aren't animals who generally enjoy handling much, so I very much keep handling to a minimum. So I won't keep him out very long, but I wanted to bring him out to show you guys. So this here is Felix. And now he is a subadult, so he will still get larger than this, but he's pretty big already. I also should probably mention that he is a yellow giant Parsons chameleon. There are different locales, and he is a yellow giant, and he is climbing on my tripod. And next up we have my female yellow giant Parsons chameleon. So this is Fiona. So I have Felix and Fiona. As I mentioned before, like Felix, she is also a subadult, so she will get a bit larger than this, but she is very beautiful. As you can see, the males and females do look quite different, but I think that they're both quite pretty in their own ways. Now that you guys have got a chance to meet my Parsons chameleons, let's go ahead and head right on into my reptile room and meet a bunch of the other pets that I have. So here we are in my reptile room. Now I apologize, the lighting in here isn't really the greatest for filming my face, so because of that I think I'm just going to like film my animals, and we don't really need to see me. We'll focus on the pets in here. I also changed my shirt, I was getting really hot. So anyways, let's go ahead and start meeting all of the animals who live here in my reptile room. Right here we have my Chihuahua gecko. So this is Avery, my mainland Chihuahua. Chihuahuas are really interesting geckos. I really love owning them, and I would really love to own more in the future because I think they're so fascinating. Here is Derek. Derek is my gargoyle gecko. Now, despite Derek's name, Derek is actually a female. I got Derek back when she was a little tiny hatchling, really small, so I didn't know the sex at the time of getting her. But now that she has grown, I have since discovered that Derek is a lovely lady. Derek currently lives in this bioactive enclosure. I think that this is probably one of my favorite enclosures that I have for some of my arboreal geckos. I don't know, I just really love the way that this one has grown in, and Derek does really well in it, and Derek's stunning red colors really stand out amongst all of this green, which I think is really cool. So this beautiful gecko right here is Chaos, who is my Leachianus gecko, Rhacodactylus leachianus. Now, leachies are some of my absolute favorite geckos. I got Chaos about 7 months ago, and owning him or her, I don't entirely know the sex yet, although I believe female, Owning Chaos has been so much fun, and I've really developed a passion for these geckos. I think that they are such an amazing species, super interesting. Right up here we have Viper, who is my Amazon tree boa. Amazon tree boas are really fascinating snakes. I think they're one of the coolest arboreal snakes out there. Viper is a garden phase, so she's primarily black, white, and gray in color, but then she also does have these stunning red eyes, which I find really pretty. I think she's just a very beautiful snake. Now, this gecko species that you see here is a very uncommon gecko. Never really seen anyone else with these in the pet community here. He jumped away. You can kind of see him on the back of the cage now. Since he jumped, we're going to talk about them quickly while just admiring their enclosure. I really like the way that this turned out personally, but in this cage there are two Rhacodactylus oscroprenorum. I am probably saying that completely wrong. This is what I was trying to say. But they are a species of Caribbean gecko. They're very uncommon, but I think that they're really interesting geckos. I do have two of them. I have a male and a female in here, and they've just been so fun to own for the time that I've had them. I think that they're amazing, and it would be really awesome someday to see more of them available in the pet trade, because they are really hard to come by, but they are really amazing. Right up here we have Oliver, who is one of my crested geckos. I do own two, and he is one of them. Oliver is my more recent crested gecko that I got. He was a rescue that I took in a little while back. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch the videos all on him. But he is a super gorgeous crested gecko, and he's made a lot of progress since I first took him in, so that's always a great thing. So yeah, this is Oliver. He's a very jumpy gecko. And then over here we have Dorito. Dorito is my other crested gecko. I've had Dorito for about 2 years now, and he was around a year old when I got him, so Dorito's now around 3 years old, and he's always done really great for me. So there's Dorito, one of my crested geckos, and also the first one that I got. Right here we have Alani, who is one of my leopard geckos. She is a G project morph, which is why she kind of has a very slight green coloring on her back. It's pretty faint, but it is there slightly. She's an absolutely gorgeous gecko. I love her colors and patterns. The camera doesn't even pick up how beautiful she is, but I can assure you she is a very beautiful gecko, and she's also quite the friendly gecko. She was so shy when I first got her, but now she's really not that shy at all. So this here is Pepper, one of my leopard geckos. She's running off to hide, which is great, but Pepper was a rescue who I took in about 2 years ago. She is around 9 years old because she was 7 when I got her. She does have a few issues, including some neurological issues, but she still does really well despite her issues, and she lives a nice happy life. And here we have another leopard gecko. So this gecko right here is my gecko Sushi. Sushi is around 10 months old at this point. She's a female. She was sold as a temperature sexed male, which didn't end up being true. And another thing that was wrong was her morph. So Sushi was sold to me as a super snow, which she's very clearly not. While I can't be certain about her morph because I was told the wrong one, I do have suspicions that she is a blizzard. That is what she resembles most, but honestly, I don't really know. That's all just a guess. So right here we have Daisy, my African fat-tailed gecko. Now, people who may not know a ton about reptiles often mistake fat-tailed geckos for leopard geckos, but they are actually very different species, and they do have quite different care. Fat-tailed geckos are honestly probably one of my favorite species of gecko. Daisy is so sweet. They're very calm and docile for the most part. I just enjoy owning them so much, and I would really love to get more in the future. Daisy is just such an adorable gecko. I really do love her, and just fat tails in general a lot. So day geckos are very squirmy lizards and they're very hard to handle, so it's hard to get some good footage of Mark here. But this is Mark, who is my standings day gecko. He is a Phelsuma standing eye. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's what I'm gonna go with. Mark is really interesting. Day geckos overall are pretty interesting geckos. I do enjoy them, but they're definitely like an observe type animal. You can't really handle them. It's not great for them. And you know, if you try to, you'll probably end up with an escaped gecko. So it's best to just leave them in their enclosure and observe them. Now right in here we have my juvenile children's python, Willow. Willow is quite the defensive snake. It's pretty typical of younger snakes to be a little bit more defensive, so we might see her getting all up in the camera here. But children's pythons are really interesting. I really love owning them. Willow has been such a joy to own despite her defensive behavior. I still really love her. So this here is Willow. Right here is Comet, who is my Kenyan sand boa. He's sticking his head out of the substrate. He came out to show off for us for a minute. Kenyan sand boas are really cool snakes because they are pretty tiny, and I would say they're fairly unique looking compared to most snakes, so they're definitely a really interesting species to own. Right down here is where my baby Brazilian rainbow boa Richard lives. Now there are a lot of hiding spots in this enclosure, so I'm gonna have to dig around to find him. So Richard was just hiding underneath a cork flat over here, but this is Richard. So as you can see, rainbow boas have a really stunning pattern, and they do have an iridescence to them, hence the name rainbow boa. I absolutely adore rainbow boas. Richard has been such a great snake. He's really calm and docile, which has been amazing. It's wonderful. Richard doesn't mind handling at all in the slightest. He's so great about it, which is so wonderful. He's just been such a pleasant snake to own, and I'm so excited to continue to see him grow and get nice and big. Right here we have Casper, who is my male banana morph ball python. Bananas are some of my favorite morphs. I think that the yellow and the almost like purplish brown to them is just really unique compared to a lot of other ball python morphs. And even though they're fairly common, I just think that they're very beautiful, and I really love bananas. And here we have Toby, who is my pastel pied ball python. Now, pied morphs are another one of my favorites because similar to the banana, I think that they're just so unique and not really like any other morph out there. So I think that they're really cool for that reason, and the pastel just kind of adds a bit more yellow into them. So I think that Toby is an absolutely gorgeous snake. He's also very docile and easy to handle. The downside to Toby is that he is quite a picky eater, but besides that, he is a really great snake. Here is Titan. Titan was the first ball python that I ever got. He's around 6 years old. I'm not sure of his exact age, but I believe he's around 6 now. Titan is a lesser ball python, and he's just a very good snake. I don't really know what else to say. He's been a pretty good pet snake. Haven't really had any issues with him, which is nice. Right here we have Angel. So Angel is another ball python of mine. She is a normal morph ball python. Angel is actually my only female. All 4 of my other ball pythons are all males, and she is the one lone female. Angel was the second ball python I ever got. I got her as a very tiny baby, and now she's getting close to adult size. She's not exactly there yet, but she is getting quite big. She's grown so much since I got her. I really enjoy getting to experience my animals grow from a young age. I think it's really rewarding to see them grow nice and healthy, and she's going back in her hide. Well, anyways, there was Angel, one of my ball pythons. Last for my ball pythons, we have Medusa here, who is a rescue snake that I took in about a year ago. Medusa has made so much progress since I got him, and I do want to point out, yes, his name is Medusa. I was told that he was a female when I got him, but then I later found out that he is in fact a boy, but I kept the name, so this is Medusa. He is a super cinnamon ball python. He's always been so well mannered, even when I was having to give him medication and everything. He's always been so good about it. And now here we have Rocky, my Pueblan milk snake. I apologize for the poor footage, but if you can't tell, Rocky is going to shed. His colors are a bit dull, so because of that I don't want to bother him at all. It's not good to bother a snake when they're in shed. It does stress them out, so we're gonna leave him exactly as he is, and unfortunately that will result in some not great footage, but you can see a little bit of his body here. So this here is Rocky, who is my Pueblan milk snake. Now here we have Sandwich. Sandwich is my chubby frog. Please excuse all of the dirt in his water dish. He constantly is climbing in and out of it, and you know, every time he does that, he gets dirt in it. No matter how often I clean it out, dirt always ends up in it. It's just what happens when you own frogs. Now, Sandwich here is a bit of a special guy. He's had his fair share of issues. Sandwich does have a neurological condition, which is why his head kind of tilts to one side, and he also gets chronic eye infections, so he's been on medications to help him. Thankfully his eyes seem to be doing better now. He was on eye drops for around 4 months straight daily, and now he's been doing good. The eye infection has not returned, so hopefully it'll stay gone, but Sandwich is a special frog, that's for sure. Right here we have Tangerine, who is my normal morph corn snake. So she's not full grown yet, but she is getting close to it. She does still have a bit of growing to do, but you know, she is getting pretty close to full size. Now, on the note of corn snakes, we also have Ghost over here, who is my ghost morph corn snake. Now, Ghost here was a rescue. She's around, I would say, 8 or 9 years old. I acquired her about 2 years ago from someone who wanted to throw her outside because they didn't want to care for her anymore, so that's how I ended up with Ghost. Thankfully, she's in a nice, loving home now, enjoying her life, so that's how I got Ghost. So down under the shelf here is where I keep most of my inverts, including one of my tarantulas, my scorpion, and all of my isopods. I'm gonna try to go through them all fairly quickly because there is, you know, there's not a ton, but there's quite a few, so it will take a long time if I spend too much time on each one. Right here we have my Brachypelma vagans, commonly known as the Mexican red rump tarantula. So I just lifted up her hide quickly, but right in here we have my Asian forest scorpion. And then over here we have all of my isopods. I'm not going to bother showing the dwarf white or the dwarf purple because they're really hard to see on camera, but we'll take a quick look at all of the others. So in here we have my dairy cow isopod, and then we have my powder blue, and then here we have my zebra isopods. These are some of my favorites. And then we have my powder oranges. And then, as I mentioned, I do also have dwarf white, dwarf purple, and then I have some springtails as well, but I'm not going to bother showing those for today. So now that we've seen all of the animals who live in my reptile room, let's start taking a look at some of the ones who, you know, are in other areas of my house, because I do have animals in a few different rooms. Next up, I would like to introduce you guys to my baby ackie monitor. So obviously he's a baby. Ackies do get quite a bit bigger than this. He is a yellow ackie, for those wondering. Now, ackie monitors have been a dream animal of mine for a while, but they are fairly hard to come by here in Canada, so it did take me a little while to get him, but it was well worth the wait. He's been such a great animal for the time that I've had him. He's so full of personality, and I just think that they make such wonderful pets. It's so fun observing and learning about him. I haven't officially come up with a name for him yet. I'm thinking of going with Tim. He kind of just reminds me of a Tim, but I haven't decided on that for sure. But you know, this is maybe Tim. Right here we have my veiled chameleon, Pascal. So you guys named him a few years ago when I first got him, and he's grown a lot since then. Now, I do want to point out, I hardly ever handle them. I think it is pretty stressful on them. So this is probably the first time I've handled him in months. I don't really recommend handling chameleons unless you have to, because it just is stressful on them. One of the reasons I do have him out is because I'm completely redoing his cage right now. It's entirely empty. So I had to take him out in order to give it a nice clean and makeover. So I thought that I would film him while I have him out so that you guys could get a nice look at him. And right here we have my bearded dragon, Lex. She's looking around because it's time for her to eat, and she has not gotten her food yet, which she wants, so we're gonna feed her quickly. So for today, Lex is just getting a salad. She's gotten to the size now where she doesn't need insects every day. So her salad consists of collard greens, dandelion greens, a bit of romaine lettuce, a couple blueberries, and then some calcium plus with low D. And right down here we have Bella, who is my merauke, I don't know, people pronounce it differently, but she is my blue-tongued skink. I do want to point out normally there is more over here. She was buried under some pieces of cork, so I lifted them up, but this is kind of under her basking area. I don't know, you guys probably don't care. You just want to see Bella. But Bella is a really, really large blue-tongued skink. It probably doesn't show on camera that well, but she's over 2 feet long. She is huge, but I love her. She's a great girl. I've had her for about 2 years now, and she's always done really well for me. So in here we have my Auriculatus fimbriatus, the giant leaf-tail gecko pair. So I have Saturn and Shadow. So you can see Saturn right here. Saturn is the male, and then Shadow is the female. And she is on the other side of this snake plant. Right down there, running away. Oh, there she is. So there is Shadow. So this little gecko here is my Urydactylotes velardi, commonly known as a chameleon gecko. He is nameless as of right now, but I absolutely adore him. These have been one of the animals that I've wanted for such a long time, and I just never really got around to actually getting one, but I finally did, and I could not be any happier. So he lives in this enclosure here. You can see he's really tiny. These are a very small species of gecko. So this enclosure here houses 3 Sparadactylus sputator, commonly known as the island least gecko. Now there are 3 of them here, 2 females and a male, but it's going to be really, really difficult to see them because of how small they are. You can see one on the branch right there, kind of. I can probably turn it a little bit. Yeah, there's one gecko on that branch there. You can see its tail up. And there is another one right on the back of the glass. So you can see how small they are. This is an 8 by 8 by 12 cage. They're very, very tiny. And then the third one is in there somewhere. So in this enclosure here, we have 4 bumblebee toads. Now these are really, really tiny species of toad, so they're gonna be hard to find, but there is 4 of them in here. You can see one right down there, so that's what they look like. If I place my finger in there, you can see a little size comparison. So these are really, really small guys. The rest of them are likely hiding inside of that cork or behind it and everything. These are more nocturnal, so they come out more at night, so we're probably not going to see the rest, but you can just imagine 4 of these little guys. Now, right over here, we have my pink toe tarantula. So this is an avicularia, but there she is. Now that you guys have been introduced to all of the reptiles that I have, let's go ahead and introduce you guys to my mammals. What are you doing? So right here we have Sunny. She is a rabbit that I rescued from a local shelter. She's kind of in the process of molting right now, so her fur looks a little funny. Even though I've been brushing it, it still looks kind of weird, but this is Sunny. And then right here we have Fred. Fred is my newer Syrian hamster. He is absolutely adorable. I love white hamsters so much, so I'm very happy to have Fred. Fred has been a very, very good hamster. He's also quite sweet. And right over here we do have Thumper. Thumper is also kind of going through a molt right now. He was just brushed really recently, so he looks a little better. There's a few little funny pieces of fur sticking out, but rabbit molting is kind of intense. And lastly right here we have Peanut. Where are you going? And now right in here we have my hedgehog. You can see him running on his wheel over there. Oh, you gonna get off now? So Chip actually is completely blind in both eyes. He has cataracts in both of them. He's a bit of an old dude. He's around 4 years old now, and I do want to point out, yes, his wheel looks a little dirty. If you have hedgehogs, you know that they poop on their wheel constantly. So even if you clean it every day or every other day, there's probably going to be poop on it because they poop while they run, and it's kind of disgusting, but that's just what they do. And lastly, let's go ahead and meet all of my fish. Over here we have my 75-gallon reef tank. So this tank's looking a little bit bare right now because I am moving soon, so I've kind of been taking out the corals. One of my friends took a bunch of them, so right now we just have my 2 clownfish, the canary wrasse, and then a few corals that you see in here, as well as some inverts. And over here we have my goldfish aquarium. Now this aquarium's looking a little bit bare right now because my fish were dealing with some fin issues. So in order to treat them, I had to remove everything out of the tank. You can see that his fins are a little bit torn up, but I've been medicating them and they've been healing just fine. So yeah, that's just a little update. There were some fin issues going on, but everything is being taken care of, and here are my goldfish. And right down here we have Opal, my betta fish. Now I do want to point out, this is not normally what Opal's tank looks like. If you guys have seen some of my videos before, you may have seen that Opal used to be in a beautiful planted aquarium, and really unfortunate timing, but the tank, the 5-gallon tank that he was in, broke. So I had to kind of set up this temporary tank just tonight. Like I literally just set this up. So not the best timing for filming this video, but here we are. Anyway, so Opal is currently in this 4-gallon cube. Now I did only fill it up like I left a couple inches there because I don't have a lid for this tank. I don't want him to jump. Like I said, this was kind of just set up as an emergency because the other one broke. So there you go. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing all of the animals that I have. I hope that this video was fun for you guys to watch. Once again, I just want to put it out there that animals are a big responsibility, so please make sure you're prepared if you want to get any. With all of that said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. It means a ton to me and it really helps me out. I would appreciate it. Also, be sure to check out all of my social media if you want to see more of my animals there. I try to post on my Instagram like every day. I'm on Twitter every day, so all of my social medias will be in the description below, and I would love to have you guys over there. So yeah, check them out if you want to. All of that said, thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in my next video.